Hello, my name is Jamie Birchall, and you are listening to and or watching our podcast called Wormhole Pinball
Wormhole
Presents.
Pinball Presents.
Wormhole Pinball Presents.
Today, I'm very, very excited to be joined by two great individuals.
Today, I'm really excited to be joined by a very special guest.
And today, I'm very excited to be joined by two awesome guests all the way from Arizona.
Hello, and welcome to the Wormhole and our podcast we call Wormhole Pinball Presents, an interview series we started to highlight those in pinball and arcades. And today, I am excited to meet and speak to someone that is really putting out some unbelievable content on Instagram and now YouTube. Of course, I'm talking about the creator and soon-to-be owner of Quarter Drop Arcade Coe. Coe, thank you so much for joining the podcast. I am pumped to talk to you.
Jamie, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on the Wormhole. I've been looking forward to this.
I have too. So I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. This
Okay.
is fifth, but this
Don't
one,
be nervous.
I was really excited to talk to you.
Oh my gosh.
Before
Thank
we
you.
talk about the great videos that you've done and the content you're putting out for Quarter Drop Arcade,
Uh-huh.
me and you need to do some reminiscing. Okay,
Let's do
we
it.
need to delve into our childhood.
Okay.
And did you go to arcades growing up?
Oh yeah. I went to arcades all the time. So what really got me into it was one day I was out and about. I was really young, maybe 5, 6, something like that. And my dad took me to a diner. This would have been Southern California. And I saw my first video game that I ever have any recollection of seeing. And it was a cocktail cabinet for Frogger. And I played that, and that was the first video game I ever played. And honestly, it was kind of one of those transformative experiences to where like it changed everything. And I immediately was hooked on video games, and I wanted an NES after that. And that's kind of what segued into the lifelong passion for like going to arcades and home console gaming and everything like that. Kind of all stemmed from that Frogger cocktail arcade cabinet.
So you
at a
grew
diner.
up in California, Northwest?
Yep. Lake Forest. Do you know where
Okay.
that's at?
No.
Yep. No. Okay. Yeah. It's in between LA and San Diego, Southern California, Orange County. I was there until I was about 16, and then I moved to Oregon.
I grew up in the Northeast.
Okay.
So it was pizza joints
Yeah.
that I played most of my video games.
Right.
But I
Yeah,
have I got a good story for you. It's going to take a
Okay.
little long,
Let's
but
do
I
it.
want to geek out about arcades in my childhood to you.
Okay.
I usually get emails, Jamie, you talk too much. So this will definitely be one I'm going to
That's all part of the Wormhole experience.
Yeah. So I moved to Orlando, Florida when I was 16 years old from up north. And my
Okay.
younger brother and I knew no one because we moved in the middle of summer before my junior year. So my parents, feeling bad about uprooting our lives in the middle of summer,
Sure.
they bought us annual passes to Disney World. Okay.
Nice.
At the time, it was really expensive. I don't even know what it
Mhm.
costs now, but it was $195 a year per Florida resident. Right.
Okay.
So, but with this annual pass, we could park at any of the Disney hotels and jump on the monorail and jump on the buses for free. So we literally did every ride, every park, saw every show, anything we wanted to do. The issue we had was cash. Parents didn't give us really any money. So we had to let that money, we had to learn how to eat, where to eat. We had to learn
Sure.
how to stretch our dollars. There was a hotel, and there still is a hotel
Okay.
attached to Disney World called the Contemporary Hotel.
I've stayed there.
Okay.
I know it.
So I grew up.
That's the one the monorail goes through, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
In the Contemporary Hotel at the time was one of the largest arcades in the United States of America. And in the summer of 1989, my brother and I lived at that arcade.
Oh my gosh, what a cool place to
It
be.
was massive, and
Yeah.
they had everything you wanted, right? They even had one of those shooting galleries that would shoot the puffs of air or whatever.
I love
the
those.
light,
Yeah.
you know? And my brother used all his money on that shooting gallery, but
I bet. Yeah.
they had a ton of pinball. I sucked at pinball, so I put my quarters to work elsewhere.
Mhm.
And initially, I grew up playing games on Long Island like Tempest, Joust, Spy Hunter.
Yep. Classics.
But then the Contemporary had all the newer like late 80s games.
Final Fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that I just wanted to geek on my story because
Oh, I love it.
I lived at that arcade.
It's interesting because let's see, it was probably 1992 to 1994 when we went to the Contemporary Hotel. And I don't remember that arcade.
Oh, you blew it because it's
Yeah,
down. It's
it was
downstairs. It's like hidden.
okay.
And then it was this huge hall that they turned into an arcade.
Dang, I totally missed out.
Oh, you did.
I
'Cause-
remember going to Disneyland a lot, and they had in what's it called? The space, next to the oh gosh, what's the space age land called?
uh, well, Tomorrowland.
Tomorrowland. Thank you. I'm blanking.
Yeah.
In Tomorrowland, they had a wonderful arcade that I used to love to go to, and they
Okay.
had all like the latest and greatest arcade machines. So I remember anytime we'd go to Disneyland, I would hit up that arcade, go see Captain EO, and then go to the
Oh,
arcade.
yeah.
Yeah.
The line was always long for Captain EO, and Captain EO was in Epcot in Orlando.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but we would just take the monorail from the Contemporary to Epcot, and we can go
Yeah.
see it. But after 10 times seeing the 3D, it wasn't that fun.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was a pretty epic show. You can still watch it on YouTube. It's actually pretty fun to watch.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I tried to find a good 3D one because I have one of those VR headsets. I have the Quest 3. And I was thinking, I wonder if I could watch Captain EO in 3D on that. And they have the side by side, but it wasn't working right, so it didn't look good.
Right.
So I couldn't find a real good 3D Captain EO.
Captain EO. I haven't thought about that show in a long, long time.
Right.
That's awesome. Anyway, that place was home to us. I mean, first it was air conditioned, right? Because I just moved the equator from New York. And second, we didn't know anyone. So it was a really great opportunity to meet kids from all over the world and play video games.
Yeah, that's what the arcade was all about back in the day. It's like going there and you have your own world as a kid that's kind of your domain where you meet friends and you put down the quarters and fight each other in a game or like co-op or whatever it is and just try to go for that high score. It was kind of a magical time to go to arcades.
It really was. Just any other particular games that you remember playing?
Oh gosh, a whole bunch. I mean, like I said, Final Fight earlier was always one of my favorites. I mean, even to this day, if I see a Final Fight, I'm playing it because I love it. And
I like Double Dragon.
I have a Double Dragon. I love it. I love it. It's so good. Yeah,
it is so good.
Yeah, it's one of the great. I mean, it's kind of like it inspired all the beat 'em ups that came after it.
It did, really
important. Yeah.
I fell in love with Popeye.
That's a good game. I actually heard you talk to Scott about that.
Yeah, I put a lot of quarters into Popeye. I don't know why. It just I wanted to save olive oil, and
it's underrated.
It really is.
Yeah.
Did you migrate to video game consoles in the 80s and 90s?
Yes. So after I played for Augur, I remember seeing that commercial for the NES. So I was probably at my grandmother's house or something because we didn't have TV. That's one of the interesting things about growing up is my dad was totally anti-technology. So there was no TV. We didn't go to movies. Video games were like, oh, hell no. So I remember being at my grandmother's house and seeing this NES commercial. And this is like right after I played that for Augur. And I was like, oh my God, I have to have this. And my dad, to his credit, was like, you can have it, but you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I saved up change for literally over a year in one of those giant plastic water jugs. And then finally, it was like 1 year, a little more than a year later, I had enough and we went to Toys R Us and I got that NES and he actually bought me a couple games to go.
Games? Do you remember what game?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay,
so it came with Mario Duck Hunt.
Right.
It was like the action.
Okay, so
set.
you had the first one with the guns.
Yep, I had the gun. I still have it. I can see it right here. It's right next to me. Yeah.
You had Duck Hunt. Not a lot of people had Duck Hunt in the beginning.
Yep, Duck Hunt and Mario. And then I picked up Top Gun and I picked up Kung Fu. And those were really the only games I had for quite a while.
Okay.
And probably it wasn't until Super Mario Brothers 3 came out and The Wizard, that movie. I don't know if you remember the movie The Wizard.
Sure. With the what was the Nintendo?
The Power Glove. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got one hanging up on my wall upstairs. I love it.
Mighty.
Yeah. It's so cool. And although it's a terrible peripheral, it's really hard to play the games, but it's cool. So that's okay. That's all that matters. And so I played Super Mario Brothers 3. And then my good friend who lived down the street had a NES hooked up to like a little black and white, like 12-inch TV. And he had Contra. And I thought that was pretty cool
Yeah.
because
Wow.
I had never played that until, I'd have to go over to his house to play Contra.
So, all right, let's do it. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish. You finish the sentence. Up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right.
Hold down A, press start. Hold down A. Yeah, that's it.
I think it's A, B, B.
Is it? Dang it. I hope I didn't.
Oh, I got it in my nose.
Up, left, right. Hold
It's
down
up,
A.
up, left, right.
Hold down A, press start.
It's up, down, down, left, right. A, B, start.
Oh, dang it. Okay, well, I was close.
My brother and I got into the biggest
I
fight
remember, yeah.
because of Contra, because we were right at the end and he was fooling around with the up, down, down, left,
Yeah.
right. And I lost him as a player. And then, if your partner died
Yeah.
and didn't get the code in time, you would ruin your progress if you died the same time.
Right.
Remember?
I don't know how I discovered that back in the day because, of course, this is before internet.
Right?
So I know I was aware of this code back in the 80s, but it's like, how did I know it? Did I discover it by accident or was it like a Nintendo Power or something? I honestly
Could have
don't
been
know.
Nintendo Power
It
Magazine
might have been. It seems the most likely
where it
source.
spread, right? And
Yeah.
Nintendo, yeah.
That's probably the only place.
And I read a bunch of video game magazines. Like
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
when we would go to the like Five and Dimes we had,
Yeah.
I would just sit there and read video game magazines.
Oh, it's the
So they
best.
kicked me out.
Those magazines, I mean, they're such time capsules. They have a website that's like they've scanned all those magazines.
Really?
And I was working on a project, this is years ago, for a book, and I was going through and looking at old video game magazines, and it was pretty cool. It was really neat. The advertising is so good in that late 80s and early 90s. It's kind of a lost art, these really good print ads.
Yeah.
Like I love them.
Big full page.
Oh yes, some of them pulled out 3 pages long, and they're huge. Yeah, I love it.
All right, let's play a yes/no game. Did you ever play on this console?
Okay.
You could either have played it or owned it. I'm just going to go kind of a sequential order, but it's not a perfect list. Okay.
Okay.
Atari 2600.
Yes, own it still. I was gifted a Atari 2600 by my cousin. This was after I owned a Sega Genesis, so it was later. It was already kind of antiquated, but he gave me his Atari 2600, and I loved it even back then. I'd play Barnstorming. That was a game I really liked, and like Pac-Man, although it's not
cows, right? Barnstorming had cows.
You're in a plane and you go through the barns and over the windmills.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, that game always hit a chord.
Okay, I had an Atari 2600 as well.
Nice.
Atari 5200.
Nope, never had it.
Intellivision.
Nope, never had it.
You neither. ColecoVision.
Nope.
My cousins had it though.
Okay, that's cool.
I went and they were really close. Everything's close in Long Island.
There's a lot of passion for the ColecoVision.
There is. It had the best Donkey Kong.
Okay.
Because Donkey Kong on a 2600 was dog crap, and so it had a really good Donkey Kong. It had it had good games.
Yeah.
They blew.
Did you ever play a game called Beam Rider?
No.
Okay, it was on Atari 2600 and ColecoVision. It's one of the most underrated games on that system, on the Atari 2600. It's so good. And I always try to recommend it to people that like the Atari 2600 because I never hear people talking about it. And it might be my favorite game on the console.
I will have to look that up.
Yeah, awesome. Beam Rider.
Beam Rider. Okay.
Yep, it's so good.
Commodore 64.
No, I didn't have any of those. Did you? That's cool.
I learned to code in BASIC.
I was going to say, if you were geeking out on computers back in the day, that's the thing to have.
My father wanted me into computers, and I showed an affinity towards electronics and such. So he got me the Commodore 64, sorry. And I learned how to code in BASIC, and we made a states game for my 6th grade class or some shit. And you would go sub and go to all basic code. And
yeah, sure.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I remember doing something like that in homeroom in middle school, where we had to do some basic coding and create like a little, like real stupid program, or like, hey, the little person's moving across the screen or whatever.
Just if-then statements go to.
Yeah.
It's not complicated. I can probably write it to this day.
Yeah.
All right, the original Sega Master System, yes or no?
No, I have one now though.
Never played it.
Yeah, it was totally like I was NES.
Yeah, so
I don't think
NES.
I don't
I
think a
had
lot of people
NES.
had the Master System
No, but
in
there
the
were
States.
not really. No.
In what is it, Brazil? It's like huge. Even to this day, people like adore the Master System in South
All right.
America.
We're gonna go to some obscure ones as we move to the 90s.
Okay.
Sega CD.
Yes, I had one and I loved it. I was like the only kid in my friend group that was like
So Sega
diehard
CD was
Sega.
after the Genesis.
Genesis. I
Okay.
had my
So
Genesis.
I had my Genesis as well.
Nice. It's still my
And
favorite console.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they
You like
tried
the
that. Remember they tried Sega 32
yeah, yeah.
top thing on top?
Yeah, the
That didn't work.
32X.
The
Yeah.
32X, yeah, that didn't
Yeah.
work. Uh,
No, I didn't. I didn't have a 32X at the time, but as I started collecting later on, I actually had a complete in-box 32X set in my collection. I ended up selling it a while back because it was worth so much money and I didn't really play it. But yeah, it's cool.
what about an Atari Lynx?
No, never had the links. It's
I
one of
don't
those
know if
things
you.
I remember seeing like at KB Toys, like on
Yeah,
clearance or
sure.
something.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And I was like, whoa, what
exactly.
is that?
What the
Yeah.
hell was that? Right.
Yeah. It's like super obscure.
All right, I got to bet on Donovan that you had this one. Donovan's my co-host on Twitter.
Okay.
Neo Geo.
Okay. So Neo Geo was the system I wanted the most, but my parents were like, hell no, because it was expensive.
It was
It
very
was,
expensive. I
I
didn't
think
know
it was,
anyone had the Neo Geo.
yeah, but there was a store my mom would go called like Tuesday Morning or something. It was like a kitchen, home, and
Yeah,
bath
they still
kind of
have
store.
them around, I
Oh, do
think.
they have those?
Yeah.
Okay. And next to it was a place that rented a time on a Neo Geo. So you could hook it up to their TV and you for an hour you could play Neo Geo. So when she would go to the Tuesday Morning, I would go play the Neo Geo over there. So I did play it, but I they would not buy me one.
Okay, couple more. Super NES.
No, my best friend Brad growing up had the Super Nintendo. I had the Sega Genesis.
I had the Sega Genesis. My fraternity brother had the Super Nintendo, and
Nice. It's the best of both worlds.
it was the best of both worlds because
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat here and
Yeah.
Street Fighter there.
You nailed it. Yep.
Sega Saturn.
No, and that's a console that I've probably, for whatever reason, played the least. And I'm a huge Sega fan.
So I
And
was a
I
huge Sega fan too, and we're going to get to one in a second. But
okay, but yeah,
yeah.
I've never owned a Saturn, and I've gosh played only on emulation. I've played it.
PS1.
Yeah, love PS1.
Okay, I did not because I was a Sega
Okay.
Dreamcast. Not
Oh
this
well, I was too. I mean, Dreamcast is the goat.
I have a story by Sega Dreamcast.
I do too. Oh yeah.
I'm married with kids, and
Yeah.
I go to Kmart and open it up because I knew no one would go to Kmart. They were all going to go to Best Buy, Walmart, or whatever
Smart.
the crap it was. So
Yeah.
I just opened, and I got the first Sega Dreamcast in Houston, and
1999.
yes, sir. And I wound up getting a modem for it, and but my first games were Royal Rumble. No, what was it? What was the boxing game?
Yeah, Ready to Rumble. Yep.
Ready to Rumble, and they had Taxi.
Yeah, Crazy Taxi.
Crazy Taxi.
Yep. Oh, it's like my favorite gaming memory is waiting in a massive line on 1999 with my own money because now I'm old enough to like buy my own consoles and pick up a Dreamcast and play like Soul Calibur, Crazy Taxi.
I had Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur so good. Yeah.
You know,
And
and
like,
their NFL 2K was better than Madden.
NFL 2K, that 2K sports line at the time was like way better than any sports game that had ever come out, in my opinion, at least. I mean, it was so good.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for both of us, that console died. It didn't.
It was tragic.
It really was.
I never understood it.
I didn't get it either.
Yeah.
But
I was like, this is the best console ever. And how can people not be just enjoying it? But no DVD player.
No DVD player. Yeah. There were some problems.
Now I still have my original Dreamcast that I picked up on 1999.
Why
and up in my game room, I have a display because, like an idiot, as a teenager, I took all my games and chucked the packaging and put the discs into like a binder. And I've got games like Power Stone 2 and Skies of Arcadia and all these games that are now worth hundreds of dollars, but they're all loose. So I made this display on the wall where I display all the loose CDs in clear jewel cases. And it
Yeah.
actually looks pretty cool.
All right, a few more. Nintendo 64?
Nope, not a fan.
I played the hell out of it.
Did you? Yeah, I don't like that
Because
controller.
I did not want to go PlayStation.
That's fair.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so, but the graphics between the PlayStation and Nintendo 64 were just terrible. You know, such a big difference. And I was a Mario dude. I love Mario.
I do too, but I can't do that controller. It drives me even to
No, it's
this
a
day.
terrible controller.
It's
It's
the
one of the worst
worst.
ever made. And this
Yeah.
economic bull crap. It was
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. PS2.
I very briefly, this is like I didn't have hardly any money at the time, and I was able to like get one second hand towards the end of its life cycle kind of thing, and I played Final Fantasy X.
Okay. I
That's
was never a Final Fantasy guy. Thank God.
okay.
Because that would have
That's
put
about the
me down a
extent
wormhole.
of my PlayStation 2 history.
Nintendo GameCube.
Nope. Nope.
All right. I got it for the kids, but I
Yeah.
really secretly wanted to play Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
Just to
I
be
had the OG Xbox at that time.
And that was my last one.
Oh,
Xbox.
okay. I don't know if you can see on the wall here. OG
Yeah,
Xbox.
I see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I
That
love it.
the once I went Xbox, I never went back.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm a big Xbox fan.
And so for the kids, I got the Wii as you know, as
Yeah.
older
Yeah.
and you know, and that
Yeah.
sort of thing. But that none of that was for me. It was Xbox.
It's the family console.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
what was it? Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One,
360. Yeah.
Xbox Series X.
Yeah. The 360, I've got the Star Wars one, and if I push the button, see, probably can't hear it, but R2D2. That's the 360.
I knew we were going to be in trouble talking.
Yeah.
Okay, did you ever read the book Console Wars by Blake Harris?
I have not.
Okay, that's an
I need to read
excellent
that.
Absolutely, because
Okay.
what it'll do is it'll transport you back into the beginning and end of Sega and
Oh,
and the mistakes that they made.
okay.
As a businessman, it's a good business book on
Sure.
mistakes. But they explain, do you know why video games are released on Tuesday?
Oh, interesting. I don't know why.
Okay, well,
It's
it was Sonic 2 for Tuesday. It was Sonic Tuesday, and it was
ah,
the release of
okay.
Sonic, and it wouldn't have been the first Sonic or second, but Sega, and they talk about how they needed to go up against Mario. How do we beat Mario? Well, we're going to beat
Sure.
him with this badass guy that spins.
This mascot.
Yeah, this mascot. It's an outstanding read by Blake Harris.
Okay. I'll
So
put it on the to read list. I love reading about video game, coin op, pinball history, and stuff like that.
yeah,
So
it's
it's right up
really
my
good.
alley.
It talks about how Sony came in and how I don't want to ruin it because it's an
Sure.
excellent read.
Okay.
Back to video games. Let's go back to the arcade games.
Okay.
Can you describe your collection to me for me if you don't mind? Like what's in your collection
Okay. It's
or
a
how many
mix.
machines you have?
Okay. I currently have 37 coin operated machines.
Wow.
I'm planning to have about 50. I think the arcade, it's because I live in a small town. It's Cottage Grove, Oregon, and it's not a big place. There's 10,000 people that live here. So I'm trying to find, like, I was really thinking about what is the size of arcade that a town like this will support and that one person can run and fix machines for, because it's just going to be me.
Oh, okay.
So,
Because I had a
yeah.
bunch of questions about that later. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I was like, I think 50 is probably the sweet spot where there's enough variety for people to play and have fun. And then I can hopefully take care of them all and fix them all and keep them running good. So I've got a mix of everything from like classics like Miss Pac-Man up to like some of the 90s, like the really good 90s stuff like Area 51 and Cruisin' Exotica.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've got Aliens Extermination from 2006. That's pretty sweet. It's got the two dual mounted machine guns, and it's pretty awesome. Pulse rifles, actually. And I've got some pins, of course, which, I love pinball. Kind of pinball obsessed, which I'm sure you can relate to.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I see Alien behind you. Is that Highway or is that
Yeah,
Pinball?
no, this is the Ripley edition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And it's kind of everything I thought it would be. It's
Yeah.
wonderful theme integration and sound design, but quirky. And it's not without its issues. But
We
I
have a
kind of knew that.
Highway
Yeah,
and,
I knew that going into it though.
and we went and picked up a highway, and
Okay.
it's the mouth. It's got problems.
Oh, it's got problems. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
But
gonna put
it's
it in the museum because the mouth
okay.
hasn't grabbed the ball yet, and so we got years to fix it, but
Does it not grab the ball at all?
no.
Oh, see, mine does grab the ball. So they fixed that at least. Not
Well, that's
always.
Pinball Brothers. So they took over the design of Alien,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
the
They
old
fixed a lot of the
highway,
stuff.
they fixed all that crap. So
Okay. Because it still has some quirks.
yeah,
The
it's a weird
hypersleep,
game. It's
the
dark.
hypersleep chambers.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I spent 2 days trying to get that to work right out of the box. But it more or less works now. But it's great. I love it. Dream theme, Aliens. Alien and Aliens are like some of my favorite movies of all time. So you take like my favorite movie franchise and put it with pinball, and like you get a lot of machine for the money too with the Ripley edition. It's 8,000 something bucks, but it's fully loaded.
yeah, it is loaded. I haven't played the Ripley. They had them at Expo, TPF, and I never got a
Mhm.
chance to go into
Yeah,
it. So.
it's good. It's fun.
So let's talk about your vision to the Quarter Drop Arcade.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You talked about carpet costs itself and
Yeah.
transporting the player back to the 80s. Is that what you're looking for vision wise?
Yeah, and that's my most watched video, funny enough, a video about carpet. It's
Isn't it
been,
weird?
yeah, it's got like 317,000 views on Instagram. It's just like it's carpet.
About carpet.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I love it. So it is very much my vision, and the whole reason I'm doing this, because like, honestly, it's not about money. And I mean that with 100% sincerity. I have no interest in making money off of this. I want the arcade to make money because I want the arcade to be the best arcade possible, because more money means better machines, better maintained machines, a better experience overall. So that's definitely something that's important. But for me, that's not a motivator. And it's about recreating that authentic arcade experience that I felt like I watched die off. And kind of like tragically in the 90s and late 90s, you started to see it. And then early 2000s comes, and then like the avalanche of just every one of your favorite arcades, one after another, dying and going away and never opening again. And for a while there were no arcades anywhere. It wasn't until barcades opened up.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's like that was like 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, of like no arcades. And so for me, it's like trying to really emulate what that experience was like back in the day. And to the point of like, I'm using real tickets for some of the redemption machines because that was part of the experience back in the day. So it costs me more money, it's more hassle, but that was part of the experience, using actual quarters and not the card system.
I was going to ask you, are you going to use tokens?
I'm using quarters.
It would be ridiculous if you used
yeah, I know. Yeah,
quarters.
people ask me that a lot. They're like, you should use tokens. I'm like, well, the arcade is called the Quarter Drop. So I'm using quarters. And again, that's like more hassle, more work. It's all kinds of like negatives, except it's recreating the authentic arcade experience. And that's the whole reason I'm doing it. So it's like a non-negotiable for me. No cards, no sliding, nothing, none of that.
Right.
I want the machines to be affordable because that's another motivator for me. It's like you can't take a family, if you have a family of 4, you can't go anywhere without spending $100, $200. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go. It's just everything is wildly expensive. So I would like it if people could come and have a couple hours of fun and not have to spend $200 and just have a good time.
What is there an era of video games themselves that you want to showcase maybe a little more than others, or is it?
I'm trying to kind of cater to a lot of different sensibilities while staying true to that authentic experience. So it's going to be kind of that sweet spot of 80s to late 90s is kind of like my favorite, because that's when I was playing games.
It's my absolute.
Yeah. So that kind of 20-year span is like, I think the best span of arcade games, period. So that's where I'm really focusing. I have a few that are from like, I've got like the Aliens Extermination, that's 2006. I've got an Afterburner Climax, that's also 2006. So very kind of late CRT arcade machines. So that's kind of like the span.
Do you have a location already picked out?
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
I haven't quite officially announced anything, but I am knee deep in negotiations.
And you do all the tech work yourself.
I do. Yep. Oh, and I do have a friend that helps me, Moon. I
Okay.
I contract him on occasion, and he comes and helps me because his dad was an electronic engineer, and he's really savvy with that stuff. So when it's something that's like a little above my pay grade, um, I have him come help me, and he's great.
That's awesome. We have Tech Night at the Wormhole today.
Yeah.
And we're gonna probably at the end of this interview, there'll be techs all over the place because we got a big
Yeah.
tournament coming up. So it takes a
Sure.
village. It takes a village.
Yeah. I bet you guys have what, 23 machines on the floor? So
We
it
have
is.
23 on the floor,
Okay.
total collection of 200 plus.
Yeah.
I'll send you a super secret
Okay.
list that we're
Oh
going
boy.
to of all the pins
Is this for the museum?
for everything. So it's
Everything.
interesting. I'll talk about the museum
Okay.
in a minute, but we're kind of calling the whole thing a museum now.
Oh, good.
Because if
Okay.
you look
That
at
makes
it, this
sense.
place is
It
kind of a
is.
museum.
It's a total
And
museum.
so we're just calling this Wormhole, and we're going to
Yeah.
call the big place downtown Wormhole East.
Perfect. Yeah.
And,
That makes perfect sense.
yeah, because it to me they're all museum. These are just pieces of art, and with the way this place looks, it's really cool.
I was listening to your interview with Scott, and I was listening to you talk about them being works of art. I was like, yeah, they are absolutely works of art.
Wow.
Pinball, in particular,
Yes.
the whole package is an art form.
We're talking about my interview with Scott Denisi. You could check it out at Wormhole Pinball Presents on all the major. Well, you're listening, so of course you found us. But
Great interview.
thanks.
Yeah, it was really good.
He couldn't be easier to talk to, and he's just
He,
super brilliant.
yeah, I was gonna say he comes off as being brilliant
Yeah.
and
Well, let's
nice.
he is.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your popular Instagram and the videos themselves. Like
Okay.
I'm going to ask some technical questions in a bit, but when did you
Okay.
decide to take your journey to the arcade and publish it?
Okay. So I made the decision that because I've always kind of had this idea, grow up, but it was never a feasible thing because I didn't have the money. I knew that it probably wouldn't be financially uh, like a good business plan, like to make lots of money. So I never pursued it, even though I wanted to. It just wasn't something I could do. And then when I was finally to a place where I'm like, you know what, I'm at a place in my life where I could do this. And so about a year, it's been a year and a month now ago that I'm like, I'm doing it. So I sat down and I wrote the business plan and kind of just step by step everything that I would need to do to make this happen. And of course, marketing the arcade is like, I look at that as almost my number one job. I mean, that's like probably the most important thing I can do because I need people to come that don't live in Cottage Grove to want to
Right.
come to the arcade.
Yeah.
And because it's only 10,000 people here, and I want people from all over the place and content creators to come and make videos and enjoy the quarter drop. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to really like figure out how am I going to do that? How am I going to market it? So I spent a lot of time really like researching and thinking about what kind of content I wanted to make that was authentic to me, but still was like discover like the algorithm would like it. So that's kind of like that's the hard part is being authentic to yourself and making content that is geared towards an algorithm. And that was what I really like kind of dialed in and
What
trying to
was
figure out how to do
yeah,
it.
what was there any inspiration for your video style or just
Yeah,
experimenting a little?
the inspiration is very much so old TV shows from like the late 80s and early 90s of like the unsolved mysteries and stuff like that. That's
I
the whole.
totally get that vibe when I
Do
watch
you?
your video.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Because if you
Nice.
go through your beginning videos, you didn't do the walk up.
I didn't. Yeah.
And I love the walk up. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I like that
changed. I
approach.
when I first
Yeah,
started making the content, I was like, it's not working what I'm doing. It was okay. I mean, it was, fine, but I don't want it to be okay. I want it to kick ass.
yes.
And so I'm like, I got to do something different. So I was like, I scrapped that and changed the whole formula. And that worked. And as soon as I started doing the walk up, the structure, which is The walk
Yes.
up, hook, foreshadow, body, and the last line. That's the structure. And within that structure, I always create a narrative, because you don't want to say, hey, look at this. I got a Alien Ripley edition. Or,
Right.
there's got to be some kind of story. Like with the carpet, the carpet video starts out, there's an item on my must-have wish list that will cost over $10,000, require constant maintenance, and never make a dime. But it's a must-have item for the Quarter Drop Arcade. That tells you right there.
Yeah.
It's the hook, the foreshadow, and it's like, what is this? What is he talking about?
Right.
And so it's everything. But I'm not doing it in a way where I'm like being bombastic or not true to myself. Because I see some people that they're like, hey everyone, and they're like,
Right.
like the energy, and that would be exhausting to me. I couldn't like
Right. Putting
maintain
on a
that.
persona on a
Yeah.
whole different, yeah, that is
I
exhausting.
just,
Gotta be
especially with
exhausting.
daily videos like that,
Right.
there's no way I'd be able to maintain that. So I was like, I was thinking, well, it's going to be kind of hard because my energy is not super high on the videos. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see how this goes. But people have responded to it really well.
Do you keep them in a certain, and we're talking about the reels that you put on Instagram. Do you keep them in a certain time frame? Is there like a sweet spot for you under 40 seconds or
It's the best time that I've seen is 58 seconds.
okay.
So I always try to keep them between around 45 to 58 seconds. Yeah. I post them to I post the same video to Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
So
And
what are you getting the most traction on of those three platforms?
Instagram.
Okay.
It started out being TikTok. Right off the bat, the TikTok videos started doing good. But then I made the mistake of making a video about light guns. And I actually got soft like shadow banned for quite a while on TikTok after I made a light gun video, which is, because I was talking about light guns, the peripheral. Yeah. And apparently that the, AI or whatever was not happy with me.
Well, yeah, that's so
So,
fun.
yeah, from that point, it was like, boom, videos went from thousands of views to like, they weren't showing it to anyone for
Oh,
about a month. And then it's been slowly building up from there, getting back to where it was. But in that time, Instagram took off. So Instagram's passed all TikTok and YouTube by quite a large margin.
yeah. In regards to documenting your journey to the arcade, we are trying to do something similar here with the museums, the OG,
Sure.
and because we're building not only Wormhole East, but there's another location that we have called the Vault, and so a lot of those details we're not really disclosing, and we're just trying to
Okay.
also figure out how we're going to disclose them. And I kind of
Yeah.
like the walkthrough video of 58 to 45 seconds. Here's a quick walkthrough of progress. And we're doing that mostly for ourselves so that we
Yeah.
could document the progress of Wormhole East and the Vault. But, I just a little taste of what we're doing in Houston. And I love your videos and I love what you're doing there.
Thank you.
It's just
Oh, and
fantastic.
I love what you're doing with the wormhole. I mean, talk about a cool space.
Talk about two people kissing each other's ass. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hey, you know what? Why not?
Well, everyone I interview, I always say I'm wind up going there, but there's
I
no,
know, I've got that.
there's
I was
no
going to joke about
question
that.
I'm
Say,
going to the Quarter Drop.
okay, good.
There's no question, and there's no question you're coming to.
Is this
So,
before or after Germany?
I don't know. That's a tough one too. I can't wait to go over there. Those are great people. And I'm talking about JDL Pinball, one of my early podcasts. I like some of the rare games that you covered in reels.
Yeah,
Give me some
okay.
that stood out that you filmed.
Oh, I like the really unusual stuff. Like I'm Computer Space 1971, first mass-produced coin-operated video game. It's a wild-looking cabinet. Um, I think it's somewhat well known, but not everyone knows what a computer space is. So covering stuff like that is cool. I just did a video on Humpty Dumpty, first
Right.
pinball machine with flippers.
Mhm.
Stuff like that that's kind of historically significant is fun to talk about. Because we all like in the pinball sphere, we geek out on these details. But I think the majority of the people that probably follow my Instagram, my social media accounts, may not even know what a Humpty Dumpty is or a computer space.
Right.
I think the casual arcade fan they know the Street Fighters and the Mortal Kombats and stuff, and they love it. But I think highlighting some of those kind of rare games is a lot of fun. Death Race was a cool one.
That
There
was,
was a big
yeah.
That was fun. Now I kind of want a Death Race, but they never come up.
I saw that and I went, did I ever play Death Race? And I guarantee you it wasn't at Disney, probably. So
No, I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
Disney had some cool stuff though. I remember going to Disney World and they had the hologram, the Sega hologram
Yes,
game.
they did. They had a
And
whole, you're talking about Epcot, the entire
yeah.
section they had there rolled
Hmm.
up for that's like 1991, 92.
That's about when I was there. Yeah. And I remember seeing
An
that and
annual
just like,
pass, Co. I had
yeah,
an annual
uh,
pass, and Sega
yeah.
trying to, keep going.
We
Had
could have been in the arcade at the same time for all
I
we know.
guarantee you we were because I know,
Yeah.
yeah, it was by
Yeah.
the land, I think.
Yeah. I remember seeing like, okay, Sega and holograms together. Oh my
I
God.
know
Yeah. Have to
that
play this.
blew my mind.
Time Traveler. I was blanking on the name for a second.
That is Time Traveler.
Yep.
So we live stream most of our tournaments here on
Yeah.
Wormhole on Twitch and our
Hmm.
Monday night streams where we're just kind of goofing around. I never considered a constant live stream for Wormhole East. We
Mm.
just never thought about it. But
Hmm.
but your video that it was a very interesting topic that you raised about the privacy issues of streaming 24/7 from the Quarter Drop.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
that for a minute.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great topic.
Yeah, what are you
So I would
plans?
love, like, my ideal would be literally put cameras all over the arcade. And when I open up, I'm streaming on Twitch. And I just, whether it's just me talking at the desk and chatting during slow times, or if there's a pinball tournament, streaming that, or even if it's just a normal day and I have an overview shot throughout the arcade, I would love to do that. But there are like quite a few like unknown variables there.
Yeah, I
One,
wrote
you
them
have,
down. I
okay,
so I wanted to talk to you
yeah,
about it because I'm fascinated with
yeah,
this because we've been tinkering with this for Wormhole East as well.
okay,
Because that will be open to the public where as we are more tournaments and rentals.
yeah.
There's got to be, first of all, there's got to be a software plugin that someone can create an OBS to blur out faces.
I can't believe there isn't one.
It's
I keep
2024,
looking.
Co.
Yeah, that would solve all the problems.
All the problems.
All the problems. Because then I would just do that. I would have cameras everywhere and it would automatically blur faces. And then all my concerns go away.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then your camera you could take that blur, from OBS. You could use those
Yeah.
filters and boom, 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 blur filter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And then
hate,
I could still have my desk cam and the
yeah,
pinball rig.
without blur. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like on the rig, it's going to say, hey, you can play this game for free, but you're on Twitch. Try to use good language or something like that.
I like that. That's smart. And consent forms suck, right? I mean,
I'm not doing that.
yeah.
You don't want to have, a lot of people mention that. And I'm thinking you never want to increase, there never needs to, a barrier, a friction, a level of entry. If there's friction for the person to come to your establishment, you want to reduce all that. You want to make it as easy as possible for someone to come in and play, video games at your arcade.
Because you're transporting them into a time that was really pretty cool in their lives, right? And then
Yeah,
the
where
first
you
thing
didn't
I got to
have
do is
stuff like that.
I got to sign something,
It's BS.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So I'm not
agree.
going to do that. So if at the very least I'll have my desk area and I'll have like I have here right now,
Okay.
this set up like this at the arcade, and then I'll have the pinball rig, and I'll have that set up. So that's happening no matter what.
Okay.
Whether or
If you
not
need any
I'll be
help
able.
setting up pinball rigs, I'm pretty good at it.
Thank you. I know. I see right behind you. You're pro. And if whether or not I'll have overview shots, my concern is like minors coming in.
Oh yeah.
I mean, people privacy issues. Some people want to come in and just play arcade games and not be live streamed. Even though I will have security cameras, but that's not being
That's
live
different.
streamed to the world.
That's being, yeah. Because
Yeah.
when we announce, we have an announcement before each tournament that we stream at the Wormhole. John Spates gets up on the mic. He goes, "We stream at the Wormhole. By coming to the Wormhole, you agree to be streamed. If anyone has any concerns about that, please let us know."
Yeah.
And JDL has like a filter that he puts on his player cam, and it just
Okay.
blocks the face.
Oh.
uh,
Interesting.
and we can hook you up with him. He's a great dude, and he
Okay.
built it for his camera, so
And
that
is it always blocking their face, or do you do it just if they don't want their
if they
face?
don't want it, he says, I
Okay.
don't, person comes up, I don't want to be streamed. They just flip this little
Okay.
filter on top of it, and it blocks out like
Interesting.
half their face.
See, that's the kind of stuff that I love hearing because I was thinking when the pinball tournaments happen, I'm gonna have to make some kind of announcement. It's like, hey,
Yeah,
we're streaming this on Twitch, everyone. So see this camera here. This is the one that gets you, and this is the play field.
and the reasons that they don't want to stream are always good reasons, right? And they don't need to tell me;
Yeah.
it's their personal business. But if someone's
Oh
in law
yeah.
enforcement, they don't want to be streamed. Okay, fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're going to make an accommodation for you as best as we can. All right. If you
Yes.
can't do it,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
unfortunately, this might not be the place for you at this moment in time.
Yeah. I'm thinking it might be pretty easy for me because I actually have my face cam is a Razer Keo Ultra, and you can turn it to close the shutter.
Okay.
So I might be able to just turn it if someone doesn't want to be on there and close that. Just that one camera would be off. But yeah, it's too bad that I would be so fun just to like open up and have the whole place live
You can
stream and
do it.
different
You can
cameras.
do it. There's just going to be some, they're just little obstacles that will, you can
Yeah,
get through because people are going to want to be streamed. Hey, I'm going to Quarter
yeah,
Drop. Hey, check me
yeah,
out
yeah.
uh, on stream. And then you could have QR codes when you walk in. You're going to be on stream here, sign up for Twitch.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
why Twitch over YouTube?
Well, I was streaming on Twitch before I made the decision to do Quarter Drop. I was doing retro stuff. I have a CRT next to me, and I had this really convoluted setup where I was actually streaming from the CRT television. And I did that for quite a while and really liked it. And then when I decided to do the arcade, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to start transitioning because I want to stream on Twitch from the arcade. That's like, I don't want to stop streaming, but I want to put all my focus on the arcade because it's important and that's where my passion's at right now. And it's so I want to make it happen. So I was like, okay, well, I just need to transition what I've already kind of built more towards pinball and arcade.
Okay.
So I already kind of had that infrastructure set up, and I just built myself a streaming rig. Well, I should say that was actually a huge project. It was a monumental task that I
I've
didn't
been there,
realize was going to
man.
be so expensive and time consuming to get it just the way I wanted,
I
very
know.
well. But I
Tinker
spent so
with it
much
every
stupid
day.
money on that streaming rig must cost like $3,000 or something. I don't know. It was expensive.
We're going to talk about it. My wife.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What was your profession before going deep into Quarter Drop?
I've done a bunch of stuff for big chunk of my professional life. I was a professional glassblower, and that's actually where Coe comes from.
Okay.
COE 33 is the coefficient of expansion for borosilicate glass, and that's the type of glass that I worked with for years. And whenever I would go to an arcade, I would always put in COE. That was my initials for high scores. So when I started making content on YouTube, this is like 11 years ago, I went by COE 33, and everyone just started calling me Coe. So that's kind of where that came from.
That's
Yeah,
so
and then
cool.
I was in the newspaper industry for a long time. I was the creative director in the newspaper industry doing
Okay.
graphic design, and I had my own publishing company for a while.
But you can see I knew you were an artist though.
I'm a lifelong artist. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
still. Yeah.
that was apparent to me pretty early on in your
Oh,
video.
okay.
Like, well, he's an
Oh,
artist,
nice. Oh, cool.
and because you could see the art in what you're putting out. And again,
Appreciate
I
that.
geek on art and I love it. And I can see
Yeah.
the people that have this artistic ability and they put it out in their craft. It's really pretty dang.
Yeah, I appreciate it so much. As I'm like Rachel from Electric Bat. Have you seen her artwork?
Yeah, I didn't get to see it.
Stunning.
It is stunning.
Yeah.
She's amazing. I never got to see
Yeah.
the dick pics, the penis things that she built. Did you see that?
Yeah. I saw
What did
the Instagram post.
I never saw it. I keep looking for it and I keep missing it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now that was high art.
yeah, that's what I heard. And no one has it because they're afraid to save it on their phone, which is a good call. But what's your time frame from planning to opening? What do you have an opening date? in
Yeah,
mind?
July 26, 2025 is the plan.
Okay.
So theoretically, let's say I get into a building a month from now, which is what I'm hoping. I theoretically, this building that I may be getting into is going to require a lot of TLC.
Okay.
So it's going to be a good chunk of time remodeling, getting it to look like I want, getting that carpet down because I got to do the carpet, of
Absolutely. You
course.
got to.
Yeah,
Number one video
getting
you've
those.
done.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, doing the black lights and all that stuff,
It's
getting
got
it
to have
all
black
ready.
lights.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lots of
Yeah.
black lights,
Yeah.
RGB lighting, the whole thing. It's going to be a nice, cool space. Once I have that dialed in, and I have, I have to have an electrician come out and get, 50 amp breakers and all that stuff, and the internet and everything, all the things that go into a building.
Right.
Then I'm going to start moving my machines over and getting it all set up, and then I'm going to start streaming from the arcade even before I'm open.
Okay.
And I think that's going to probably more or less take about a year.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And document every piece of it.
Every single piece, every little
And even if
minutia.
some of it's for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
because we didn't do that well enough, right? Like this building got stripped. Here's a quick
Yeah.
story for those that don't listen.
Okay.
It's all right. This building was a $39 insurance building. Okay.
Oh wow.
And if you come to the side, you'll still see it painted over 1,000 times $39 insurance because the street that we're on was full of old used car lots, Co. So it makes total sense,
Hmm.
right? You buy your used car for cash and then you come and you get quick insurance towards the end of this main street. So
Okay.
Tim and Christine, they bought the building
Okay.
and
For $39.
no, but they did pretty good.
Oh, good.
And they had a tenant. And then the tenant decides to leave because he's not selling insurance anymore because they're regentrifying the area and there's no more car lots as many. So
Right.
Tim says, with John Spates and Christine, we're going to build a pinball bar. And this is in 2020, January. Well,
Okay.
bad timing, right? You're not going to start a pinball bar right before COVID. And they couldn't get permits. They couldn't get everything. And thank God they couldn't get it because we have a parking issue here. Our parking
Right.
sucks. And
Oh, okay.
so
Yeah.
they couldn't get the liquor license because of the parking. And it turned into an absolute blessing. So we just started moving machines in here and made it our private pinball club. And then we opened to the public and the rest is history.
Right. Rest is history. Yeah.
We did not document it properly.
Oh, that would have been, see, that's such a cool experience too.
No,
And
we
I think a lot of people
blew
are
it.
really intrigued by it. Just the what goes into it. I get messages all the time saying, "Hey, this is my dream, and I've always thought about doing this." And like seeing every step like this has been really eye-opening. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of the main motivator in doing this. I want it, like, I'm documenting it. I'm sharing that information for people to learn from. I mean, it's just a win-win-win. The whole
Yeah.
process
And
is, yeah.
it is awesome. More ass kissing for you. Will it, you gonna have a bar inside or BYOB?
Well, we don't have BYOB in
Really?
Oregon. Yeah, well, well, let me preface that. I actually still need to make sure, but my understanding is we don't have BYOB. If we do, then it'll definitely be that. Theoretically, I'm being so cagey. This building that I may be getting into is next to a bar, and so it's literally 2 steps away.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There we go. Any more info you want to drop about Quarter Drop Arcade before we get into the rapid fire? Hurry up.
Uh, no, July, Cottage Grove website, all that stuff. Check it out.
We'll get to that. But now, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, the
Oh
exciting
boy. Okay, my seat's getting
rapid
hot.
fire hot seat, whatever the hell the game's called. It's called the hurry up. All right.
Hurry up, hot seat, right?
I don't like adding music in my interviews, as you
Oh,
see.
okay.
Just I don't. But if I was going to add music, it would be to the hurry up because I
Yes,
could
it's very
put,
dramatic.
it is. Okay. Better run and gun game. Contra or Commando?
Contra. I love Commando, and a lot of people would probably say that.
Better run and fight game. Final Fight or Double Dragon?
Oh, well, I mean, Double Dragon has my heart, but Final Fight is the better game.
Which pinball machine? I agree, by the way. I'm not
Okay.
supposed to be
Yeah.
agreeing with my guests.
I
I'm supposed to just be
know.
the host. Damn it, James.
It's okay.
Which pinball machine should be made from one of these video games? Sonic the Hedgehog, Legend of Zelda, or completely redo Super Mario Brothers?
Okay, well, all three of those, the fact that they haven't been done is criminal. But the one that really surprised me the most is Sonic the Hedgehog because Sonic the Hedgehog, first of all, Sonic Spinball is already a thing on the Genesis.
Yeah.
It lends itself to pinball perfectly from like there's levels in Sonic the Hedgehog where you're like in Vegas and there's pinball machines in the level where you're shooting Sonics and you're hitting the pop bumpers and it's already like the work's already been done. So just make it happen.
Well, I don't understand. I know
It's
that somebody did
insane.
a homebrew, and I think he's now working for somebody.
Yeah, it
Someone will
blows my
yell at
mind
me.
that all three of those would like sell better than any. Like, why are you making Led Zeppelin when you could be making Legend of Zelda? I
I
mean,
have,
it's
I know.
insane.
I have a Led Zeppelin in my house right now. I'm borrowing
Oh,
Tim's. He's
yeah,
real kind to let me borrow his
yeah.
pens. It's an LE. It's beautiful.
Oh,
And
and it's not a diss to Led Zeppelin. They're a great
no,
band,
no, I
but
had to
yeah,
disable the damn thing that comes up.
yeah,
That machine's a disaster. It's got to go back to the
yeah.
vault because it's just
What? And it's just not the like perfect theme either. I
I,
think there's like so many themes that are like perfect for pinball.
yeah. And
Where's
we
Mad
just haven't.
Max? Why don't we have a Mad Max pinball machine? For the
I
love of
know.
God.
I mean, you talked about Top Gun as being such an
Yeah.
unbelievable video game back in the day. How could that? How
Yeah.
is not a
Top
pinball
Gun.
machine?
Insane pinball machine.
I know what they
It
could.
would and it would sell.
Yeah, because we're the buying demographic,
Hmm.
our
Yep.
age, and we
Yeah.
want to see Top Gun. We don't care if
Uh,
it's
damn it.
Pokemon
We
or
want Top Gun. No. A Pokemon probably would
just
sell,
for the
but
kids. You're gonna stick it in
yeah,
there.
I just missed the Pokemon. I'm just old enough where I missed Pokemon Wave.
Here they go. They're turning the machines on. Do you see that?
Nice. I saw that. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That's
Best
okay.
video game that did not have a joystick out of these three: Track
Okay.
and Field,
Mm.
Paperboy, or
Oh.
Tempest.
Ooh. Okay. I think Tempest may be the best out of those three, but I like Paperboy.
I love Paperboy. I love
Yeah.
all three of those.
Yeah, I do too. I really want a Paperboy in the arcade. I keep looking for one. I just haven't found one.
I put a lot of quarters in it. You know,
Yeah.
it was a hard game. It was
Yeah.
really one of the hardest games that you played.
It's super hard, but it's one of those games that translates best in the arcade. It doesn't like you have to have those
Didn't work on the
handlebars.
consoles. That
Not
was
nearly, it's like,
not
yeah,
nearly as well because you needed
not
the
nearly as well. You need
yeah.
the, yeah. So that's like, I like games like that where it's like, hey, this is by far, you have to play this in the arcade. That's why I picked up the Afterburner Climax. You can't even play that anywhere. You got to have the arcade cabinet. And it got delisted from all the digital stores and stuff. And so games like that where you really want to have that arcade experience, I always gravitate towards.
Best fighting video game on a console: Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter.
I mean, I was Mortal Kombat on the Sega Genesis with the
Yeah,
blood.
you had to have the blood.
You gotta have the blood.
Best console hockey game.
Ooh,
Did you play hockey?
I
Console
did.
games. All right. NHL 94 or Blades of Steel.
Blades of Steel.
My
Yeah.
brother and I got in the biggest fight up Steel because I would just put the dude right in the middle, and then you could, as the goalie was going back and forth, you could pass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you could cheat and use the
I just
pass.
like the fighting.
Oh, I love Blades of Steel.
Yeah.
This is from Donovan Wade, my co-host. He sent in two questions: better organ
Okay.
movie, Goonies or Stand by Me?
Stand by Me. I like Goonies a lot. Stand by Me, though, for me is one of those movies that I saw at the right time in my life, and it's always been like with me. And it was filmed literally. So Stand by Me was filmed in Cottage Grove.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's two movies that were filmed here, and Animal House was filmed right in front of a building that I'm potentially getting for the quarter drop. It was literally filmed. The parade scene was
The
right.
parade scene at the end?
Yep, yep, yep. So I'm gonna try to incorporate Stand by Me and Animal House somehow into the arcade with some memorabilia or something.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Okay, couple more left. Alien or Predator?
Oh, both are like my all-time favorites. Alien,
Alien.
but Predator is like the perfect action movie.
Yeah.
It's the most like machismo, badass, kick butt movie I think ever put to
I
film,
think
and
it's
I
Arnold's one of
adore it.
Arnold's best, right?
Oh, I do
Such an
too. I think,
Arnold.
yeah,
Oh.
it's because he's not the only star. He's not the
No,
only
I
like.
mean,
It's a
oh my
whole cast that
and
makes
I
that
was a
movie
big
work.
wrestling fan, so you had Jesse the
Mhm.
Body in there.
Yep.
So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, and
Who
his
crushes it
machine.
in that movie?
He does.
Yeah. He's so good. But of course, Alien, Ridley Scott, all time. It just was the anniversary, and they re-released it into theaters, and I went to the movie theater and saw Alien
How
just a
does it
couple months
sound
ago.
in the
It
with?
was great.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a packed theater, and it was great.
and it should be. And one of the
Yeah,
first female action heroes,
I,
Ripley
yeah,
is
she's my favorite. Yeah, I've
absolutely.
got a autographed movie poster from Sigourney. Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Better game on Windows 95, Minesweeper or Space Cadet 3D Pinball?
Oh, well, I played more Minesweeper. I like both, and most people I think would expect me to say Space Cadet, but I'm gonna say Minesweeper
I
because
played a
I
lot of
played
Minesweeper.
so much of it.
Did too. How pissed would you be at the end when you could have
Yeah.
just done and you got to guess? That always just
Oh my
pissed me
God.
off.
It's
Uh,
amazing that games that simple could hold our attention so
I
long.
know.
Yeah.
Did you play Baseball Stars on NES? Because that's a baseball. I have a Baseball Stars question on NES.
I've played it uh later in life.
Okay, so pick one of these teams to choose from: American Dreams, World Powers, or the Lovely Ladies.
Oh
Did you
gosh,
play?
I don't think I have a good answer for that. Lovely ladies, I'll just go
No,
off
I
of
played American
name.
Dreams. I That was one of the
I don't
first
know though.
games that for the NES that you could save with a code. And I had a book and I played a
Okay.
162 game season with a custom and it would keep your stats. And at the
Oh,
end of, you would write down this code and then you put the code in and it would bring up your
wow.
save.
Cool.
It was
Yeah.
really cool, but it took a lot of dedication to play 162 games on this
Hell yeah, it does.
for Baseball Stars. All right, last one, Dragon's Lair. Was it
Okay.
worth 50 cents or not?
Was it 50 cents or not?
Yeah, no,
It
was
was.
it worth 50 cents? Yes
Oh,
or
was it worth 50 cents? Because I'd say that's the first 50-cent
no?
video
I
game.
know. Was it worth
Yeah,
it?
okay.
Yes or no?
Um, yes. Don Bluth artwork, laser disc technology in the arcade, incredible artwork. It's hard as can be. Like the thing, is it worth it? I don't know. You go, you put your 50 cents in and you play for 10 seconds.
I know.
So I don't know
Pissed
if
me off. That
it's,
game pissed me off.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But they had to, right? I mean, those laser disc players were expensive.
Mhm.
They broke down all the time. From an operator standpoint, that was the right price.
You can't find them with the original laser disc anymore.
No, they're all converted to
Yeah.
um what is it? Daphne.
Yeah. That's sad, actually, because it
Yeah.
was pretty cool. Because it did have like a second delay when you made
Mhm.
the move across
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
moat, whatever.
I've always really liked Dragon's Lair. Actually, that's the name of my Discord, Dragon's Lair, just because I thought, oh, it's arcade related and it's everyone hanging out. And I was like, that's perfect.
Well, Coe, that was it. That was the hurry up. Thank you so
I
much.
love it.
This was absolutely amazing. I'm so happy to have met you. A special shout out
Likewise.
from Cole from Electric Backcat and the Electric Backcast podcast. He sent me an IM and he said, Jamie, get Coe on.
I heard at the end of your last episode, and I messaged Kale and said,
Yeah, Kale, sorry.
yeah, no, I know what you did there. And I said, how nice of that, thank you so much. That was really nice of you. So thank you, Kale. Appreciate
Kale
you.
is so
Electric
nice.
Bat
And
is,
Rachel, there. I
yeah.
saw you wearing one of their shirts the other day.
Yeah, I got one of their shirts and I can't wait to make it down there because that's like when I think of cool arcades, Electric Bat is like right there, top.
I want to go on a Tuesday, don't you? And play in
Yeah.
league.
100 and something people playing pinball.
How can
Amazing.
we not do that?
I
That
know.
would be fun.
Seriously.
So if you're not following Coe on Quarter Drop Arcade on Instagram, you're making a complete mistake. All right. The reels are absolutely fantastic. We've heard him talk about it. Anything else we didn't cover?
No, I think we covered it. That was so much fun. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. And I expect an invite for July 25th.
Yeah, July
2025?
26th, 2025. which is my birthday.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the idea. Open on my birthday.
Hey, come on again before we're closer to that date.
I would
Okay.
love to
There's no
anytime.
there's no reason we can't have you on again. That would be fantastic. And that we didn't even scratch the surface because I could have talked to you for 3 hours today.
Absolutely.
It's so much we have in common. It's so funny.
Yeah. I see that. I love it.
And I know I'm going to get a bunch of crap that I had all these video game consoles. Let me just tell people I worked, okay, from 12 years old to 16. I worked at a golf course and I printed money as a bag boy
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
put it all in the video games.
Nice. Yeah. Money well spent.
It really was. All right, Coach. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Jamie.
I literally could have talked to him for 2 hours. And there's no question in my mind that I'm going to have him on again. Coe is awesome. Thank you for all the recommendations that have been coming in through IM and email to wormholepinball@gmail.com. I'm booked solid to mid-August. And so next week, I'm talking to another cool dude that I recently met at the Wormhole a couple of months ago. He's one of the largest European distributors of pinball and arcade games and growing social media presence, Stefan Riedler. So that's going to be really cool. We put out a lot of content recently, so check us out on all the socials and Twitch and all that stuff. That's it. I've kept you long enough. Remember our number one rule here at the Wormhole. I'm not going to swear because Coe is so nice. Don't be an a-hole.